Hey students, today we're going to learn about the rock cycle. Now, for the last few weeks, we've been doing different cycles. We've learned about the water cycle, the carbon cycle, and the nitrogen cycle. This will be the last cycle that we learn about, and I'm going to provide you guys with a little diagram today to explain how this cycle works, the rock cycle. The first thing I want to start off with, though, is just to mention a name. The rock cycle was first discovered by a man named James Hutton. Now, if we were in class, we would have a little discussion right now, just so you guys would understand the difference between somebody discovering something versus someone inventing. James Hutton did not invent the rock cycle. The rock cycle was already happening. He was just the first person to notice it. So that's why we don't say he invented it, he discovered it. There is a difference between inventing and discovering. Okay, so to understand the rock cycle, you have to understand that there are 3 different types of rocks in the whole world. The first rock I'll talk to you about just real quickly is called an igneous rock. An igneous rock, I'm just going to circle it. The word igneous literally means fire, a fire rock. So if you think about that, fire making rocks, you might think of a volcano. And if you do, you're absolutely right. An igneous rock is going to be formed from a volcano, actually from the lava that comes out of a volcano. And the lava is either going to cool quickly or slowly. Once that lava cools, we get the igneous rock. An example, I'm not sure if anyone's ever seen it or heard of it, but there is an example called pumice. It's a pretty familiar type of an igneous rock. It looks like it has little air bubbles in it. But that would be an example of an igneous rock. That is lava that has cooled down slowly over time. So that's the first type of rock, is an igneous rock. The next type of rock, I'm actually going to write it down here. There's a type of rock that's called a sedimentary rock. Let me just write that for a second. Okay, a sedimentary rock means that it's a rock that that has been broken down. It does obviously stick together. It is a rock, but there's different pieces of different minerals and fragments and maybe even like organic matter, things like that. The word sediment literally means pieces. So this is like bits and pieces of a whole bunch of things that are pushed together. Yes, it makes a rock. But these are the rocks that we normally see on the face of the earth. Like if you go outside out in your yard and you just randomly find a rock, chances are it is going to be a sedimentary rock. So that's the second type of rock. The third type of rock is called a metamorphic rock. Now the word metamorphic means to change. So these are rocks that are going to be, you're going to have to dig a little bit deeper down into the ground to find these. These need a lot of heat and pressure to change, but they are going to be changing through heat and pressure. But they're going to be things that have still the same things that make up the sedimentary. It's just going to be fused together better because of heat and pressure. That's the third type of rock, a metamorphic. Now, I've purposefully, let me see if you can see this little drawing. I've purposefully made this into a triangle because I'm going to try to make us a diagram to show us how these rocks can all turn into each other. So I want to show you today through this diagram of how all these rocks can turn into each other. Now, there's going to be a lot of arrows to follow. But as long as you just, pick one arrow and just follow its path, it's pretty easy to understand. I am going to put, I've got the 3 types of rocks. I am going to put some processes here real quickly. The first thing I'm going to write over here, I'm going to write the word melt, okay? And I'm going to put that like that because in order for anything to get to an igneous rock, it's going to have to melt. It's going to become lava. I'm also going to write, this kind of goes along with the word sedimentary right here. I'm going to put the word sediments. That's those pieces that we were talking about. Okay, that's those pieces. And I'm also going to put the words heat and pressure. Because I said a second ago that to get to metamorphic, you're going to need heat and pressure. Okay, so let's pick a starting point and let's just go with it. Let's start with igneous. Can an igneous rock turn into metamorphic? Yes, it can. The line that we'll draw to show this, an igneous rock, if it goes through heat and pressure, it's going to turn into metamorphic. So igneous can turn into metamorphic through heat and pressure. Okay, so can an igneous rock turn into sedimentary? Yes, it can. How? Well, it's going to have to kind of chip away. As long as the igneous rock breaks down and turns into sediments, those sediments, I'm going to write the word compact here. Those sediments must compact. That means they must stick together to form a rock, and then it can be a sedimentary rock. So we've created the path for igneous to turn into a metamorphic and an igneous to turn into a sedimentary. Now let's start with metamorphic. Can a metamorphic rock turn into igneous? Yes, it can. If it goes through the process of melting, which that would make lava, then it would have to cool down. And once it cools, it would be an igneous rock. Can metamorphic turn into a sedimentary? Yes, it can. And it's the same way that an igneous can. It would have to first, my arrows are going to cross here, sorry. It would first have to break down into sediments. And from sediments, it would then compact to be a sedimentary rock. So we have a path for a metamorphic to turn into an igneous, and we have a path for a metamorphic to turn into a sedimentary. All right, last but not least, we have to start with sedimentary. Can a sedimentary turn into an igneous? The answer is yes. These arrows are going to be a little messy, but that's okay. A sedimentary rock must melt. That's a long arrow. Sedimentary rock must melt into lava and then cool to become an igneous rock. Last but not least, can a sedimentary rock turn into a metamorphic rock? Yes, if it undergoes great amounts of heat and pressure, and then the heat and pressure forms the metamorphic rock. So, there's your diagram. Yes, there's a lot of arrows, but like I said, if you just pick a path and follow it, it's pretty easy to read. For example, if I were to ask you, which I'm going to in a moment, how can a metamorphic rock turn into an igneous? Well, I just need to follow the path. Metamorphic turns into an igneous by melting into lava and then cooling, and it's an igneous rock. Okay, so there's your diagram. Now here's your homework problem. You are going to write me a little paragraph and explain this. How can a sedimentary rock, so we're starting out with sedimentary on that diagram. How can a sedimentary rock turn into a metamorphic rock, so it goes to metamorphic after that, and from there, from metamorphic, how can it then turn into an igneous rock? So you're starting at sedimentary, going to metamorphic, then going to igneous. Explain to me how that can happen. Use the diagram that I just showed you. If you guys have any questions, make sure that you message me on LiveGrades. You guys have a good day. Bye.